We're going to talk about the minimum wage, a living wage, subsistence wages from the American viewpoint. Although America was not the first country to establish minimum wages, it was done in a rather unique fashion. In 1933, when the minimum wage was established, it was established to make sure that people never fell below the poverty level. But if you did a little research, it's not clearly defined in America what is the poverty level and how to get there. The second question on why a minimum wage was established in 1933 was that it was a way to keep wages higher. The unions wanted to keep wages higher. So what is the minimum wage in the United States? Right now it's $7.25 an hour. And in most states they exceed that by quite a bit. Matter of fact, 20 states are equal or above the minimum wage, and less than 200,000 people in America make that minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. The average hourly rate in the USA is over $30 an hour. Well, the benefits and the problems of a minimum wage is that minimum wage is really designed today as an opportunity for an employee to get his first job. It's usually a team worker, and he or she does not necessarily bear the skills of, let's say, going to a place like in New Jersey where I am, and getting $15 an hour for a job where the employer doesn't get the benefit because the employee is not trained. This leaves options for the employer to consider automation instead of hiring that first person's job. The minimum wage was never meant to be a long-term career salary. Some people look at it that way, and it's not. It works basically on supply and demand. If there's a lot of demand for workers, the wages are going to be lower. If there's lower demand for workers, obviously if there's a high demand for workers out there, the workers have leverage. If there's a low demand for workers, the workers don't have leverage. It's basic economics 101. And by the way, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm push the video. Let's talk a little bit about something called universal basic income, which has really been something that people have been discussing over the last few years. It's a guaranteed income paid to every citizen, paid irrespective of wealth, and the recipient can spend the money any way they choose to. It's a concept that was proposed by a gentleman named Henry George. Milton Friedman looked at it, and it was a concept that Martin Luther King thought that might work well. The problem with UBI is it stated that what's the incentive to work? It's expensive. It stifles the economy's growth. It can inflate the economy. It has been tried in some places, even in Alaska, where it did work, but it was sort of an anomaly. It would reduce poverty. It would also make it easier probably and prevent a lot of domestic violence because there'd be money in the household. So what is a living wage? By the way, if you do like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. It helps me get better positioning in YouTube. A living wage is an hourly wage applied to a full-time worker to support he or she and her family without public assistance. basic needs such as housing, education, transportation, prevents the worker from falling into poverty, ensures workers and their family of a fair share, and it would be implemented and it would be indexed by CPI, or as prices go up. But what happens with programs in America like aid for dependent children, the earned income tax credit, child care credit, free school lunch, unemployment insurance, SNAP, SSI, Medicare? How does this play into a living wage? How would you incorporate that? And by the way, how do you determine what is fairness? You know, two plants grown side by side with the same nutrition, same sunlight, are not going to be the same. Two twins raised by the same parent are not going to have the same outcomes. So there's the problem with having something called a living wage. The first minimum wage was passed in 1894. In the United States, as I said, in 1933, Franklin Delano Roosevelt passed the First Minimum Wage Act. There actually has been a study done in 1992 by David Card and Alan B. Kruger, which they did a study on Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area, and southern New Jersey. And the test was that New Jersey had raised its minimum wage from, I believe, this is back in 1972, by about 75 cents an hour more than Pennsylvania. So the thought was that they did a survey with fast food services, looking to see whether people or not would go out to New Jersey and work from Pennsylvania because the minimum wage was higher. And they found nothing. But an interesting thing about this is there were some problems with this survey. One, no one considered the cost of driving from Pennsylvania to New Jersey. No one ever considered the cost of the toll on the bridge, which is now $6. Don't know what it was back then. No one considered the time factor that had to go into making that trip. So I guess the moral of the story is, even though this finding said that minimum wages, it made no difference, the wages went up, there are other factors that go into making a determination on whether something is valid or not. Listen, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. And if you did, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. Have a great day.